Chris, before you eat a piece, do you go, "I must break you"?
Oh.
But they tried to kill you with their chocolate.
I should tell everybody, welcome to another episode of the Heroes Speak podcast. I'm your host, Chris. As always, here with my wonderful co-hosts. We're talking all the way on the West Coast with Brooks. How you doing, Brooks?
Great. Happy Monday, everyone.
Only because the Raiders won, I'm sure that's why you're happy,
They
right?
sure did.
Damn.
Who are the Raiders? Never heard of them.
Not in California. They're a Southwest team. No.
Baltimore, right?
Listen, you guys, they may move around a lot, but it's an American football team. Like, that may be why you've never heard of them.
Oh, so
Could
not soccer. Not soccer.
It's not real football, though. In Mike's defense, it's not real football.
Canadian loose ball.
Aggressive handball.
That's right.
Speaking of our friends from the far north, hi, Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, I'm good. I won this podcast.
Oh, no. There's a recount, man. I'm going to get those ballots. Lindsey Graham came up to me and asked me to recount.
Look, if you count all the legal podcasts, I win.
Yeah. Oh, we won that podcast. the I don't know if there's a name for that, Webby Award or something.
The Webbies, yeah.
All right, and our current Mandalorian carrying around his baby Yoda. Hi, James. How you doing?
What's going on, Chris? Post shout out to all of our members of the armed forces, active and retired. Veterans Day. Hoorah.
Hoorah. Yeah, that's not for me either.
I'll do that.
All right. And our current salesperson for Dunder Mifflin, we have Keith. How you doing, Keith?
East Side.
So today, outside of all the jabber, we're going to talk about the episode of The Mandalorian that just aired, episode 3. We're going to talk about.
Well,
we're going to ask Brooks to actually lead our little. From her hidey hole, wherever she is in the world, she's going to talk about whatever she's watching. I have no idea.
She's
You didn't tell me
It's
anything.
going to be spicy.
in between segments, she's moving, so you got to give her a little break.
In between segments, she's moving. You have your go bag ready? And
It can't be Property Brothers, by the way. I forgot to tell you that.
And lastly, we're going to talk about something I failed to do this week is watch Greenland, apparently. So these guys are going to tell me all about that movie. Before we start that, I'm going to say, I know we've talked about Russia a lot, and not normally in a positive way, but I'm going to say these people have a hell of a good chocolate.
What is that?
Okay, so my international spy brother, he signed us up for this thing called Universal Yums. Now, if they want to sponsor the podcast, they can contact us at Hero Speak. But it's like a monthly delivery box of snacks from whatever country they decide to send that month. And so we've done, we did Brazil last month, and we did a Southeast Asian country 2 months ago.
Yeah, where did those spicy chips come from?
The spicy chips came from. It wasn't Korea. It was
Like Vietnamese or something? No.
Vietnamese, Thailand.
Thailand.
Cambodia.
It was Thailand. That one.
Arlar.
All right, but let me tell you, I was surprised as hell at how good the Russia stuff is. So I'm gonna say, Russia, for all of this bad stuff I've said about you, I'm sorry. You have really good
Russia,
You
snack.
should have them not only
Listening.
sponsor, but have Keith taste it on air and give his reaction to it.
Wait, why does it have to be Keith? I don't know.
I think you're the best
That
person.
sounds pretty racist.
This is lime mint chocolate and it's
Russian
lime
chocolate?
related.
How's that
Russian
racist?
chocolate.
Lime
Mint
chocolate doesn't sound good.
And whenever I eat it, I go on Facebook and I talk about how good Russia is and how much I love Vladimir.
I was in love with Vladimir.
Because I don't want anything bad happen to me next time I eat their chocolate.
And Nikolai Volkov was my favorite athlete of the 80s.
I think the Russians should win all the Olympic awards.
They got robbed in the 80s, man. Miracle on Ice, cheating on ice, more like it.
So,
That's right.
so when you eat, before you eat a piece, do you go, "I must break you"?
Oh.
But they tried to kill you with their chocolate.
I didn't even think of it. That would have been good.
I must break you.
I must break
All
you.
right. I did almost die on that.
It's like, pardon me. I was just dying.
Chris was killed by Russians on air. All right. So let's move on to our actual topic of the day. We're going to start with The Mandalorian, Episode 3.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
Now, Episode 3 is called The Heiress. It was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. She directed at least one episode last season. And this
Wait,
one...
does everyone here know who Bryce Dallas Howard is? I'm talking about us, Heroes Peak, not the audience.
Right. She is the
Brooks and Keith.
she is the daughter of Ron Howard, the director and actor.
Oh, okay.
You
I
also
who that
know
is.
her from Running Away from Dinosaurs in High Heels.
And then the last Jurassic World movie, whatever that was.
Jurassic World.
Yeah,
I
Jurassic World.
didn't see it.
Yeah.
You didn't see Jurassic World? I thought it
No.
was,
I didn't see it either.
I thought it was pretty good.
No, she's a pretty good actress, and she's stepping out from shadows of acting into actual directing, like sci-fi movies. So pretty good for her, right, Mendo?
This is the way.
You've been dying to do that.
Oh yeah.
He's been talking about it all week, guys. So
Not gonna lie, it's pretty dope. But go ahead.
it is.
It is a nice filter.
It was written by Jon Favreau. And
Damn, full cosplay mode.
do you get eaten by a sarlacc when you walk out of the room?
So yeah, so back to the episode synopsis.
Back to the episode
Nerd.
synopsis. So Mandalorian lands on a water planet. I love this planet, by the way. I love the choppy water planet with all of the water-based aliens. So we got the Mon Calamari
Our
star
favorite, yum yum.
and some squid guys I couldn't find the name of. Anybody know?
No, I didn't deep dive it yet.
All right. And of course, the frog lady from the last one and her husband and babies. And Mando lands on the planet because he heard that he would get connected with other Mandalorians. And lo and behold, he actually does. After they try to kill him, he gets introduced to another faction of Mandalorians. Sorry, I'm still dying on this chocolate.
Die from the Russian chocolate. It's not funny.
And taking the helmet off, surprises the hell out of him, is none other than Katie Sackhoff of Battlestar Galactica fame, playing Bo-Katan from the animated series,
Which she also voiced as the actress.
she did voice it?
Yeah, she did. Yep.
Nice. So, what did you guys think? Let's go with James first. What was this a high-rated episode for you? How did it relate to compared to like last season's versus this season? What do you think?
Yeah, I like. First of all, I know I saw your chat earlier. You thought this was probably the best episode so far this season. I really like episode 2. I might be in my own little corner about that, and I'll defend that corner. I really like episode 2. But that being said, I enjoyed this as well. So far, I've enjoyed the entire season. But I think this episode, it was. First of all, shout out to Bo-Katan, the character that Katie Sackhoff is playing, because she's a well-known character in Rebels and Clone
boy,
Wars.
does she look like the cartoon character.
Yes.
Like you put those two characters next to each other.
Did.
Her hair,
The
her
haircut.
eyebrows.
Apparently, they had problems getting the right hair color. They did all that, and she carries like the stature of that character. Now, you mentioned they're playing a faction, and she's playing a faction. She's actually the mainstream version of, let's say, for lack of a better word, Protestant Catholics in America versus like not evangelicals, Jehovah's Witnesses. Like Mando is actually a much smaller sect of the Mandalorian tribe,
and he had no clue. That was like my favorite thing. Is she's like, "You're in a cult," or whatever she said, basically.
Yeah, like you're a Jehovah's Witness. We're regular Christians. Like, and by the way, I'm not trying to trivialize Christianity for all my fans. You know,
I'll do that later.
Catholic
Someone's
myself.
already writing a horribly worded letter.
Oh my God, here it comes.
From
But
our fan.
I think it was nice to show the dichotomy between what he thought was the way that we've all been paraphrasing him. This is the way, Mandalorian. And then you see actual other Mandalorians like casually taking off the helmet, speaking to him. By the way, they seem very well trained compared to him. And if you never watched Clone Wars or Rebels, you have no idea how good these three characters are or how good Bo-Katan is. But it almost makes you look at Mando in a different light now, wondering about how far did he go in his training of being a Mandalorian? Is he fully trained? Has he like graduated certain levels? Like how easily he got duped into that trap, him and Baby Yoda, without getting into spoilers yet, that required the other Mandalorians to come save him. So I think to me this episode showed me two things. A, the Easter eggs were great. The Mon Calamari. There's a couple other Easter eggs with the planes and the ships. Obviously Bo-Katan being a huge one. But on the other side, it made me realize that the Mandalorian himself isn't like that ultra, like in the first episode in the first season, we thought this is the badass Mandalorians we heard about, his people, his tribe. I'm starting to realizing maybe he was stunted a little bit in his training and that he hasn't reached that level where he's, a full Mandalorian yet. And now we get to see three other people who are acting perfect, chemistry and harmony and escaping twice. They were shown twice. And it puts Mando in a different light for me that I'm hoping that we get to see by end of season 2 that he becomes a better fighter.
All right.
Yeah,
Mike.
I'm with you there. Yeah, overall, I thought it was a great episode. I liked 2, but I thought 3 was better only because I was looking forward to seeing some Clone Wars characters come back. I was hoping Sabine was going to be in it, but somebody had commented to me that she's probably with Ahsoka. So when we get to see Ahsoka, that hopefully we'll see Sabine as well.
No, I bet they're going to save her for Obi-Wan.
Maybe. That's a good point.
That's if they do Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll show her, and that'll link up those two. So if they do end up doing Obi-Wan, you can bring her back and
exactly.
link the two.
Right. Yeah, and so overall, I thought it was a great episode, and I'm just looking forward to him finally meeting up with Ahsoka, right?
Mm-hmm. They name dropped her. Mm-hmm. And they showed, who did they tell us who that lady standing in the corner was?
That was the other Mandalorian.
Was it?
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And apparently they're both featured in the animated series. I just can't recall who they are. I'd have to deep dive in some.
Yeah, I guess the actress who plays that character is a big-time wrestler or something.
Oh, is she?
Oh, Sasha Banks. Yes.
Yeah, Sasha Banks. That's her name.
Yeah, I really liked. It was a new planet. I'm kind of sick. We're kind of sick of the desert. Move a little farther out there.
Water.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked that the theme of the planet. I liked that you talked about the Mandalorian not being the thing. Like he in the backwater that was like being a bounty hunter on these desert outlands. He was the badass.
Yeah.
But now these are full on battle tested, warriors, which is a different type of badass to what you're right. So that it was cool. The battle scenes, the use of the jetpacks, they did a couple of hallway blasts, which were fine. They did like 3 of them in a row, so you know, it wasn't like my favorite episode is probably still last season where it was the prison ship episode.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Where the lights kept going out and he was like the shark, you know, finding.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a very good one.
That was probably my favorite episode. But yeah, it was good. I liked it. I like the Mandalorians. It was good all around. So
Fun.
All right.
Go ahead, Keith. You about to say something?
You see it?
Oh no, this is just a fun fact. The deputy commissioner of the NBA went to Tech.
Did not know that.
I didn't know this guy.
Okay. So what we're gonna need is, Mike, you need a little news alert sound when you do the editing.
Breaking news.
And so whenever Keith has an update like that, no matter what we're talking about, we'll do breaking news.
Yeah.
Like, quick, you nerd, hold on.
And I'm sure he's a Star Wars fan, so
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah, that's probably what the link is. Probably.
Good. 6 degrees of separation.
So last thing I'm going to say about Mandalorian right now is poor Razor Crest. That ship is taking a beating.
I think it's taking a beating.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that it's puttering around.
I was gonna say that. No, I was gonna say that I like that it's not like, you know, pre-assemble real quick like in other stuff. Like it's still damaged.
Yeah, it's still
Shows being damaged.
Yeah,
even that Mal Connery guy, he made a little joke about it.
He's like, I gave you 1,000 credits. He's like, it flies.
Yeah. It was just funny when he crashed into. He landed on the dock, but then slipped into the water. I was just laughing.
That was good.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good.
Mm-hmm.
It had great bits of humor. Baby Yoda as normal. Baby Yoda eating the what you thought was like a scary squid spider thing, and then he's just like he's got the tail hanging out of his mouth.
Clearly he's not a vegan or vegetarian.
No, he loves meat, man, or whatever.
All I've seen him eat frog.
Well, so far he's a pescatarian, right?
Oh, you.
Yeah, he's only eating amphibious.
No, he ate the spider egg. He like ripped open the spider egg.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, never mind.
I forgot about that.
Which says a lot about it, as if the aliens exist in the Star Wars universe. I put my money on Baby Yoda.
Bad.
So is it settled now? Can we get Favreau and Filoni to produce the next Star Wars movies and get the Russo brothers to direct?
Dude, that's a whole other podcast. Didn't the one director of The Mandalorian from last season isn't she getting a movie?
Oh, Chow, she's doing Obi-Wan.
Oh, that's right. She got Obi-Wan.
Yeah, she's doing Obi-Wan. Thank you. I forgot. But they still have Knights of the Old Republic. I think is still supposed to be Rian Johnson. I don't know if that's still the case or not.
Please,
Chris's favorite guy.
Hey.
Written by Chris Terrio.
Oh, no.
Chris Terrio is the equivalent of, and I know Keith is listening, Knicks management, the New York Knicks management, putting together a Star Wars story for you.
Oh, that's low.
Bring this full circle.
That's low.
We are going to our West Coast reporter, Brooks, to talk about Brooks's Corner. What are you watching?
Our Miss Brooks is presented each week through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
By the way, we have no idea what she's about to talk about. None of us have been prepped.
I think it's The Bachelor.
Oh, if it is, okay.
I have never seen an episode of The Bachelor.
Oh, then it's not. Yeah, I was going to help you if that was that.
Thank goodness.
No.
I have faith.
That was James. I forget. Oh.
Right. Yeah, I've never seen an episode. Okay, so I was trying to remind myself what exactly I watched this week. I know that's sad. Not as much. What?
In your defense, this week's been 100 years long.
It has. That is true.
That is true. Yeah.
So not as much CNN as I usually watched. Well, I don't usually watch CNN except for like this election period. I've just like been binging on CNN and MSNBC, but mostly CNN. So not as much, just because I needed a little bit of a break from it all. I watched the Raiders win on Sunday. So
Raiders
that
of
was
the
really
Lost Ark?
exciting.
Oh, we know
Yes.
that one.
The Lost Ark.
Good movie.
So I watched two main things this week. The first one is I binged the latest season of Below Deck, which is one of my all-time favorite shows on Bravo. Yeah, it's a big Bravo show. So I'm assuming you guys have never seen it. So
I thought you were talking Lower Decks.
Yeah, I was gonna,
there's a Lower Decks animated Star Trek.
Yeah, listen,
show.
last week when she mentioned Below Deck and you guys were like, oh yeah, we like that Star Trek show, and I forgot to mention that she's not talking about Star Trek.
No, I know what show she's talking about. I know. Because
you said that and I was like, oh, is that something
no,
like Star
there's a podcast. There's a podcast
haha.
I listen to where they do both The Bachelor and Below Deck. So I know of the second show. I was like, this show sounds like.
Wait, is this a Cody and his brother twins Disney show, Below Decks?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Okay,
That's
so
the one
that's
about
the only other.
the private boat, company,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That show is
So
actually pretty wild. Like I definitely watched a couple episodes.
So there's two versions of it. There's like Below Deck Med with Captain Lee, and then there's Below Deck with, or maybe it's Below Deck Med is with Captain Sandy. And anyways, the one that I watched was this season, Below Deck.
It was like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago.
Wait.
Chicago ER. Like
yeah,
one of
is there
those.
Below Decks SVU?
No.
Below Decks SVU.
Criminal Minds.
And
Below
I know
Decks Miami.
there's two different versions of it, but this is the one, Captain Sandy. Hannah was the chief stew. They had a chief bosun, or the bosun, not chief, just the bosun.
You gotta explain the naval terms for some of us who are not.
The bosun is like the lead person on deck. And this season it was a woman. So that was really interesting because it was the captain.
Breaking the
Yeah, the captain was a woman. The chief stew was a woman. The chief stew was the one in charge of the stereo. She's usually female, to be honest. And then the bosun, who's the lead person in charge of the exterior, was a female. So it was like all females in charge. And it was really interesting because there was a lot of
empowering.
Wait, but what about the captain?
Yeah, Captain Sandy. She's a female.
Okay. No, the actual captain, the one that makes sure the boat moves.
Captain Sandy. It's
All
her
right,
name.
you're sure. Okay.
Captain Sandy.
James doesn't believe a woman can do that. So he just had to make sure.
Apparently.
I'm kidding.
He's like, no, but
when the cameras stop rolling, who's actually moving the ship? Who's got the bars on their epaulets?
That's cool.
Yeah.
But she's the captain, but who's driving? What dude is driving
Who's
the
driving
ship?
the boat? Right. Yeah.
What sea captain with one-legged wooden leg?
I feel like this is like a 50-foot yacht or something. It's one of like the biggest yachts on the sea. And it's super interesting to me because it's like, I've been watching it for several seasons and I've been watching like both versions of it, but just seeing all the kind of like behind the scenes stuff that happens, like the cabins they have to live in, there's always like relationship drama, like two people always
Okay, wait a minute.
There's always so much drama.
This is a real boat and this isn't like
it's real. It's real. It's real.
It's a reality show,
it's like a
private boat.
It's like Real Housewives and all that stuff. You actually deal with real people.
The crew, and it's like you'll see, like it'll be different people, like
the charter guests, different
guests renting the service every episode. But like
that I knew.
It's like this drama thing, and those
it's
people
really
who work on that boat
interesting.
have more than a little bit of drama.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like imagine and think
and they
about
all fucking each other.
All fucking each other, yeah, pretty much. And
look
they
at
all
Chris,
have
he's like,
It's
that
like,
chocolate.
how did I miss this?
And they all have
Bravo,
like
you
relationships
said?
at home.
Family Channel.
They all have relationships at home, but they're all like having sex on the boat, and it's a whole thing. And they always like go out and get drunk, and like all.
I think they even some of them beef on Twitter as the airing of the show reveals certain infidelity, and then Chris's face.
That's like a whole.
You smash
Wait.
and they're mad that it comes out. on TV.
That is an amazing whole new level of entertainment to have the cast of the show you're watching like narrating while you're watching with new things.
Yeah, I've seen that for a couple things. Yeah,
That's cool.
I don't know. It's really interesting. It's also like the whole reality show drama thing that I just like, but it's also really interesting just seeing the behind the scenes of like, you know, being on a super yacht and then seeing the other side where you have the charter guests on a super yacht and how they act. And some of them are like really cool and some of them are huge assholes. They had Johnny Damon's been on a couple of times and he's just like a drunken mess every time he's on.
Go Yankees!
Are you a Yankees fan this season?
I've
Okay.
always
Just
been.
checking.
No. I've always been a Yankees fan. That's Keith and Mike would not argue that. Always been since the Civil Air Patrol drill team days.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure, I believe you. So I binge watch.
I use fan loosely when I talk about James.
I've been a fan of the Yankees since 1990.
So I binge watched that. That was really interesting. But the one show that I did want to talk about was I watched the season premiere of SVU. What is it? Law and Order SVU.
I know that one. That one I have.
Yes. So I watched that and I thought it was really interesting because
The
they
one with
always say
Ice-T?
like,
One of the Ice-T?
yes,
Okay.
Ice-T.
What season is that now? They've been on
I don't
forever.
even know.
45,
900 probably.
something like
Yeah.
that.
It's been on for a minute. So we watched that and it was interesting because they do headline or they do like, you know, their story is like ripped from the headlines.
Ripped from the headline.
As they always say. So they had this black dude in Central Park. He was working out and a white woman and her kid called the cops on him because the white woman was like, he's scaring my son. He's scaring my son. And it was a whole thing. And then the cops came and they arrested the man because he got the cops called on him. And then he ended up having like 2 warrants out for his arrest. But the warrants were for protesting. And so they weren't like, you know, like big warrants or whatever.
Or something. Yes.
Yeah, anything bad. They were just for protesting. And then like he ends up actually like being in NA program, I believe. And so then he like had to get a sponsor involved and it was like, I don't know, it was this whole thing, but he ends up obviously being, let me back up. And so when they arrest him, they find another crime. They happen to find this guy who had been raped and beaten like, you know, 15 yards away. And so they're like, so then they arrest the black dude because they're like, he's being called for being suspicious. And then there's a crime that just happened. And then he has outstanding warrants. So then they're like, everybody's gathering around and then they're interviewing the woman and she's like, I'm not a Karen. He was scaring my son. And, you know, it ended up being really interesting because they talked a lot about bias, especially on the police force, especially on NYPD. And Olivia Benson ended up having to go to internal affairs. She got investigated by internal affairs because she was like she didn't arrest him, but she, I guess, like let it happen because the guy was already getting arrested by the time she got to the scene, but she like let it happen. So she gets investigated and she has to like check her own bias. And so the show is very, you know, timely in everything that's happening right now. And it's talking about how like NYPD needs to check their bias. And it was really interesting. And I am glad that I watched it because like I said, it's, you know, ripped from the headlines and all the, you know, it just relates to everything that's happening. And I liked the way they were doing it because there were so many nuances to it that it's like you see kind of a lot of the things that like the NYPD has to deal with, but then they like kind of go back and show you a way that they could have done it without it being biased. Like they were like, okay, you ran the black man's background. Did you run the person that called background? Because when you got to the scene of the crime or the scene, there was 2 people there. So why didn't you run her background? Is it because she was a white woman? And, you know, Olivia's like, I'm not racist. And they're like, well, why didn't you do that? And she's like, I don't know. I just didn't. So it just like shows how, you know, you can operate by what you think is like the book, but then still really operate with a lot of bias.
Well, and that's how you know it's a scripted show, is because they never would have internal investigated themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I just
What's
found it
the show
interesting
again?
that
The name
there's
of the show?
it's Law and Order SVU.
Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, it's one of the iced tea. I just thought it was interesting. Two things that popped out. One was obviously we know what headlines are ripping it from the guy who was at the Central Park, but
Yeah.
it goes from in real life he was bird watching to he was working out in the park.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting switch on what actually did happen. And the fact that she had her dog and she was manhandling her dog, now she's just walking around with her son in the park, carefree. So again, the lens of this story, it's not really, ripped from the headlines, but it's skewed now to make it seem a little more,
a little more iffy.
Nuanced. Yeah.
nuanced. And then,
like, to be able to actually, it gave that one side now something to actually kind of argue, because if it was a dog, it's totally irrational. The actual real life version was totally irrational. So like what they did was texturize it, so they created a space where you could talk about it on both sides. Like like if they use the real one, there's no explaining why. Like, okay, you're choking a dog while you're lying on the phone with the cops. Like like it's like there's no rationalizing her side.
And then the second point is, did I hear right? You said that during the same area there was another man got raped, and they're trying to tie it to this guy who was working out at the.
So the
I don't know what that part of that story. Because Olivia Benson's character is a surviving victim of rape herself.
Right.
Yeah. Well, these shows, what they do is they always layer multiple crimes on top of each other, so they can have a surprise, like, oh, but you didn't know this thing also happened, and now it's just part of the show in that way. They always layer 2 or 3 crimes in there, so while they're investigating the main crime, to give you those twists in the show. That's really all that is. They do these rip from the headlines one. They've been doing them for years. It's it keeps them able to keep relevant with the show.
And I would be interested in seeing like the opposite perspective of like, a person that is like super pro NYPD and thinks defund the police is horrible and all that stuff. I would be interested in like them watching this and getting their thought and take on what happened, and like if it went by the, if they think it went by the books, and like if they think everything was right and there was no racial bias or anything like that.
I'd be interested if it was a black lady and her son in the park, and then some
white dude
with no shirt on who really was working out and who had like all types of tattoos on his body, and then another man did get raped at that park, and how you spin those events when she's saying, well, I was afraid, I didn't have anything concrete, but something about him was just off, and meanwhile he just committed this rape against this other man in the park.
I feel like shenanigans that
wouldn't get ratings, that wouldn't get viewership,
because people won't believe it. I wouldn't believe it. Like she's not gonna stop and call, like she's just gonna walk away with her son if that's a black woman.
You'd have to create some sort of confrontation between the two.
Intentionally Karening a situation, like
no, but if you create, you could force a situation. So
let's say she's an Asian mom or her kid,
harmed, unless she's being attacked, or like the black women aren't generally just gonna walk by a scene like that.
All right, so let me say she's not a black woman. Let's say she's an Asian mom.
Okay.
And the guy was there yelling at her some racist COVID stuff. Meanwhile, he just raped some dude, in the same area of the park. And then the cops give him the benefit of the doubt, and then through all the SVUing, Ice-T probably cracks down the case. He's like, this mofo did do this stuff. You guys won't believe me. And the rest of the guys on the force is like, it's Ice-T. I don't know what his real character's name is. It's just him.
I don't remember either.
And then Internal Affairs investigates, and they find out this is all true. And then he watches the cops do the perp walk. Yeah, that'd be more.
Yeah, you guys are putting a lot of faith in the investigation of the cops,
NBC writing. Oh.
Yeah.
But good recommendation.
No.
It's always good. I'm
It's a
not
classic.
really like a Law and Order watcher. My boyfriend watches it, so that's why we watched it, and it was it was interesting in the way it's written. I was like, oh, this is why the show has been on for so long, and all of that. But yeah, that's what I watched. I wanted to have something better than Below Deck or like a Bravo reality show, because really that's what it's either like Bravo reality or sports. That's really
No, this is good.
Wheelhouse.
Appreciate it.
Live your truth, yo. Live your truth.
That's right. That's right. The other stuff is us forcing you to watch something.
True.
It just doesn't feel right.
All right. So 1, 2. All right, Mike. Mike,
Mike,
you're
you're
on
mute.
mute.
You're on mute. One to yourself.
I said if you're gonna count the pause, it defeats the purpose of the pause.
Yeah,
Like,
you can.
I appreciate your commitment to Star Wars. Like you've even got the Star Wars mug going on.
Except for the part about they call me Mr. Tibbs, though. I just saw that. They call me Mr. Tibbs.
But see,
What's
if
that from?
That's Sidney Poitier.
My mouth just opened in shock.
In the heat of the night.
Oh, I know that show.
That's why my mouth opened in shock that you didn't know.
didn't he hit a guy? Like, was that the first viewing of a black man hitting a white man on TV?
I think he slapped the guy. And I hit him.
I think so. Actually,
I think it was an open hand slap.
Open hand slap, which is even worse.
No.
Yeah, it's just
So disrespectful.
That's
Yeah.
totally disrespectful. You ball up your fist when you hit me. God damn it.
All right. So, and Mike, it's okay to break up me counting. It doesn't matter. All right. So now we're going to go on to something where I'm going to look at the camera and shake my head like I'm interested as these guys come and talk about Greenland. I think they're talking about the 2020 movie with Gerard Butler.
Hey, who's these guys? You didn't watch it too? Dear Lord.
I meant to watch it, but like I got caught up watching bad anime again. Sorry.
Chris,
Yeah,
that
I
happens to
saw
me
it.
all the time. I mean to watch things and
And you watch bad anime too? Or bad reality shows?
bad reality.
We all have our thing. I mean, I had to give Blood of Zeus a second chance because I called it out on air, and it's just as bad the second time. So.
All right, so it looks like it's gonna be a really short review, Mike.
Yeah,
Greenland.
you know what? We could
That's
do
right.
a quick. We could do a quick non-spoiler review, and then let everybody catch up, and then we can do a full review.
Wait, hold on. Before we do
Wait,
that,
is
is
it
anyone else
worth
gonna
a
watch
full-
this?
Is it
What?
worth a full review?
I
Tell me
think
before.
so. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's something worth a review, but I think we should do it with spoilers because I don't know who
Okay,
these three
that's
guys are
fine.
gonna really watch it.
Yeah.
Wait,
all
what
right.
is
I'm good
the
with that. Either way,
Greenland?
Huh?
What is this?
It's a
Greenland.
movie that's streaming on what
Greenland.
platform?
Greenland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Greenland.
okay.
Yeah, Greenland. Sorry.
Is it topical?
Kind of, and in the
Yeah.
times.
It's apocalypse, right?
I'm gonna watch it. I mean, you can do the spoiler, but I'm gonna watch it.
You know what? Let's do spoiler free because there's some stuff from there I like to talk about that I don't want them to get the whole story until they watch
Yeah.
it. Particularly Keith. I think Keith will see a couple things. Chris, you too. Sorry, Brooks.
I don't see subtext. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know she's not gonna watch it at
It's
all.
so lowbrow.
I'm already on Instagram in anticipation of you guys talking about this.
Better be here. Speak
Sorry.
Insta.
I mean,
Of course.
No, it's a good movie though. If you like Armageddon and stuff.
Day
like
after tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's the other one that Eric told me to remind him of? I mean, Gerard Butler. He carries. He's aging well as like the old dad, family man who had a dark life at some point, but he's like
Totally
more
thinks
calm
that way.
now.
I thought what did you guys think if he would do a Indiana Jones? What did you guys think of Gerard Butler as an Indiana Jones?
Not
These are the real questions, by the way.
I don't know. You guys are the Indiana Jones fans. not me.
Gerard Butler as Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a little bit
old.
too serious.
He's too old.
Like
Yeah, I've never seen him playing any sort of.
I mean, he's not
comedic.
90 years old like Harrison Ford is.
I mean, it's not so much the age thing for me. I feel like it's like he doesn't have enough like. There's a light comic kind of personality.
I know what Keith is talking about. The Harrison could pull and
like,
still do the action.
It's a serious comic. Like, it's a serious kind of comedy. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but he has humor in his character. And I don't really see that with Gerard. Like, I feel like I
see that.
I feel like he could make it very topically, like, oh, he can make the look, but there's some nuances to
it's almost like Gerard's too angry all the time.
Right. Yeah, it's like the
like
Bruce.
Harrison Ford has like that sarcasm comedy.
Yeah,
it's like Bruce. He's like Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis also had that, I think.
Right.
He's got a lightheartedness while he's doing his action.
Yes. Like, and it's subtle enough and corny enough. Like, it walks a very fine line.
I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah, Gerard Butler looked like one of his family members just died in every scene.
Exactly.
Distraught. Yeah.
Hey,
he's just barely holding it together.
Hey, he survived an apocalypse event from a satellite, and he saved the president twice. So.
And he fought Xerxes. So.
Yeah,
that's right. He's an Egyptian god.
Sparta. Yeah, but going back to this movie, I think it was interesting how they showed you another version of the apocalypse, a planet killer type of an event, extension level event, and how we all react as citizens.
This was like I think I mentioned in the chat. It was like if they had sent up Bruce Willis to drill,
and they
failed,
and they failed.
And the asteroid came and hit Earth anyway.
So the fact that the government had all these protocols in place for certain people to be evacuated first, and meanwhile you're watching the news and they're telling you false, fake news. People going out there for having parties. It's gonna land out in somewhere, and
so it's
it'll
real
be minimal
topical.
damage.
Yeah. So what happened was the news basically said the main comet is gonna pass us by, but little chunks of it are gonna hit the ocean. And so we're in for a hell of a meteor shower. Come out tonight and watch. And meanwhile, a big chunk of it landed somewhere in, was it Europe or in Europe?
No, it was Florida. It landed in Tampa.
Of course it's Florida.
And then,
hey, people would have cheered at hitting Florida.
Yeah.
So then they're realizing, what they've been hearing about is all fake. And then little by little, the real information started coming out. But by then, the military has already been mobilized for 24 hours before that, because they actually had the real information. So I guess to minimize panic, they were selectively picking certain people, including Gerard Butler and his family. He was picked because he was a structural engineer. Shout out to engineers. Science wins. So, but he got the information and he didn't believe it, and he got another information in front of his son's birthday, and they're all like, I didn't get this Amber Alert, whatever he's getting on his phone. That's actually.
Because, the first one he got was before anything hit.
Yeah, he was in
so
supermarket.
He was like, this has got to be some kind of mistake, right? And then after it hit and he got another one, he was like, maybe it's real. So.
But he was in the midst of everyone else in his little party that were like, what does he know that we don't know? And why is he getting these special messages? And that's when then the movie kicks up gear.
But it wasn't just that he got it on his phone. It popped up on his TV.
On his television, yeah.
And it was like Gerard. I forget the character's name.
It's Gerard.
Gerard Butler.
What was that? I forget the character's name. But yeah, you and your family need to report to this airbase immediately. And then everybody else at the party was like, "Why just you?
What do you know?" He's like, "I don't know anything."
What's up with your white privilege?
Okay, so here's my question then. Would you guys want to know if there's a planet killer coming?
Hell yeah.
Like, do you want to just live quietly, have a nice last day? Or do you want to live in fear, staring for 24 hours?
I got my little baby freaking telescope downstairs in the basement. I'll be popping out on my roof and waiting every minute, taking notes in a little diary.
Not me. I'd be sneaking aboard SpaceX, man. I'm out of here.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck getting on SpaceX.
I was about to say, I'm on the fence there. Like, I kind of, I feel it. Like, yeah, you might want to know, But I feel like if there's no resources for me or for the majority of us to get like, maybe just let it happen. Like maybe just,
I mean, my idea,
Nah.
if you could, I like the idea of just being told, hey, there's a cool event ever, you should get with your family and like watch this thing.
Mass suicide.
Spend some time.
And that look when you see the sky turning, there's a one scene where you see like the sky's on fire, and at that point everybody already kind of knew what was about to happen, and you're like, you would be the shock of you with your family being misled and looking at me like, wait a second, like Peter Griffin, wait a minute, hold up, no, I rather know before it happens, so as it's happening, I'm prepared. I've made my peace with my maker.
I guess
I
it
think so.
I guess
I give you
depends,
that.
yeah.
I can see you with that.
I don't know.
And
End of days, it just feels like you're just asking for stupid people to do stupid stuff for 24 hours.
Oh, and that's what happens in the movie too, right?
Yeah, that's still happening.
So the main crux of this movie is that him and his family get selected to go to Greenland, and they run into all sorts of conflict trying to get to Greenland, basically. And I don't want to give it away. Like, the kid is sick, so there's a struggle there. There's a conflict there. They get separated.
All three of them get separated.
Yeah, during like basic rioting and stuff like that.
Oh, shout out to Miranda Baccarin playing the mom.
Yeah,
who some of you might know from her.
Yeah,
she's a Brazilian actress who played in that
she
first
was in
V
Firefly. She
reboot,
was
Firefly. She was in Gotham as Commissioner Gordon's girlfriend. She's been
she's been
Homeland. She was the wife in Homeland the first season.
Right, that's right. Yep. So yeah, she gets separated from the husband. And at one point, they get separated from the kid, and then they're all making their way
back to each other.
Right, back to each other. So
yeah, I guess the only reason I'd want to know is so I wasn't like the dude who's like, yeah, I'll stay late for work today, and you like die sitting at your desk or something, as opposed to like being at home at least.
No, that would really suck.
Like, you know what kind of sucked though, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but they showed you midway through the movie, there's a group of military folks that are working that were not selected to be part of the advanced group to go to
most of them are 99% of them
and they were there just to move the people that were selected along.
Yeah,
and they were hearing people yelling, please take so and so. And they were like, listen, my own family is not even going. So I'm in here doing my
when that scene, I was like,
it's like
I'd be like, dude, go home. Like it doesn't matter anymore.
So for me, it was good. It was a good emotional movie. It wasn't about, like, compared to Armageddon, was about a bunch of special effects and explosions and comedy. Like, this one was an emotional.
That sounds like a good movie, though.
Right.
No, but this is based on science.
Please do not ride the nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
No, I love Armageddon, right? But it's a different type of apocalypse movie because they
touchdown.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly.
You got to do that breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, you just had your Keith moments there.
Cordell Patterson.
But if you're
off return for a touchdown.
If you're going in to see this movie and you're expecting Armageddon type, we're gonna save the planet in the end, and we're gonna have a kick-ass time doing it. This is not that movie.
This isn't the movie.
This isn't The Rock flying a helicopter around.
Right, exactly. This isn't San Andreas or 2012 or so. I mean,
it gets pretty. Listen,
yeah,
Mike. The movie. One thing I have to say about the movie is it's a little short on substance and character acting outside of the main 2 or 3 folks. Like all the supporting characters, even the little kid, annoying as heck, very light and fluffy.
Yeah.
But the tone of the movie is consistent with what you would feel like in real life what would happen, especially the final third act.
Yeah.
It gets really dark, and it's not like, Eric was watching it, and in a couple scenes he's like, oh, like, yeah, imagine that was real life. You're fighting for the chance to live on. You would do something like this. You'd be that desperate.
Yeah,
it's not Hollywoodizing it. It's
the scene with him on the truck and all how that went down. That was like, I was like, yeah, that would happen pretty much.
Yeah, especially just right now in political climate. You see how people are reacting over what president they think should have won. They got rigged. Imagine they thought their lives were really at stake.
Exactly.
How they would react, regardless of color or.
That's what that's the thing. So like when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty much how it would go down if this were to happen today. So a lot of us would be screwed.
Come on, engineers, hold it together.
Do they need a podcaster? Like I could sit there and tell everybody what to do over the microphone. Nice calming voice. Please, everybody, take your seats. It's okay.
It is very calming. Damn you. I'm taking my one wristband. We got another electrical engineer. We need another podcaster.
Dude, we need a whole show, so I need my whole crew with me. It's the only way to do it.
True that.
You know why they would take me though, right?
Why?
Because you're Canadian.
Because I have all the weed.
He has all of the weed.
Or I'd make sure I had all
I
the
think
weed.
growing weed in Greenland is going to be an issue.
He's been slowly collecting.
That's right. My apocalypse kit.
Some people have a bunker of food.
It's just weed and Snickers bars.
That's all you need.
That's it.
You might want to add some water in there. Just to.
I guess.
I mean, you're only alive for 24 hours, so like you don't really need water.
Yeah, you can last without it.
Yeah. So overall, I'm gonna give this movie B-.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty good movie.
High.
Yeah, same grade, dude. B-.
Like, so here's the thing. I think I'm giving it a B- more because we've been really starved for feature entertainment this year, So like I saw this movie, it was out, and it was like, a good, A-list movie, I guess. There was supposed to be another one that was supposed to be in theaters and didn't make it. So
Didn't make it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's your grade, James?
Same, B-. Most of the same reasons. I think Gerard Butler, Morena, they did a fantastic job on a very simple type movie. Yeah, that's it. B-.
All right. Final question on our way out the door. When do you think we will see the first feature film in theaters in America that will break $100 million? Do you think by end of winter? Well, I guess I'd say before the end of the year, spring, summer, fall, winter, 2022.
What MCU movie is coming out next fall?
Box office?
I'll give you the
100
answer
million
right
box
now.
office in theater in the
theater?
US.
I'll give you the answer right now. It's going to be Memorial Day weekend, shortly after April, when they have good distribution of the vaccine.
Yeah, I look at a March, April time myself as well.
You think they'll be able to get enough people out in the vaccine? Because right now the vaccine is simply press releases. Like 94%. Yeah.
94. I raise you 0.5%.
Yeah.
Judging how people kind of acted once they felt like the COVID was under control.
Yeah, right.
I feel like it might be more of that when there's actually something legitimate that's out there that actually can control the COVID joint. I think for a big enough movie and like a weekend, like a Memorial Day weekend or something like that, I definitely think the right release could crack 100 million then.
Yeah, let me. I'm just looking up real quick.
Like
when was Black Widow?
Tenet came out then.
Black Widow's in May.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the one.
You think so?
Yeah.
May's too soon.
I'm gonna say not until
maybe May. That's January, February, March.
I'm gonna say September. I'm gonna say September of next year. That's gonna be my guess. September. It's first we have to have
Wonder Woman. When's Wonder Woman come out?
Can make it that long.
Well, the problem is it's not only do you have to get, right now we're just hitting a huge uptick again, so nothing's going to happen this year. The question is, when would they even start to give out a vaccine? Because they haven't. Yes, they've done trials and news releases, but
I think people will actually feel more malleable to go out just knowing that there's a vaccine out.
Oh, you think just not even getting it, you think it's going to be just knowing that there's an availability.
Just hearing that numbers have come, they have, like earlier this year when people were just hearing like, oh, like numbers were coming down and this, that, and the other, like it got people back out into the street.
Yeah, but people didn't go to the theater.
Oh no, no. I'm definitely not the theater, but I feel like this having actual like word of a for real vaccine that's going to be out in the public. I think that's going to give people like. I feel like by May it can happen.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the distribution is going to start in April, and then by May people will start feeling comfortable.
Once people start feeling comfortable that the vaccine is out on the streets, like you don't even have to have it. I'm telling you, they'll go to the movies.
All right, guys, we will check about that back.
Yeah, I was thinking Wonder Woman because I don't know when Wonder Woman is supposed to be released. Why I'm still seeing December of this
because year. It kept being December. They kept refusing to admit it wasn't going to come out this year.
I can see them pushing that to like Memorial Day, Wonder Woman Memorial Day.
Well,
that's the movie.
They've been trying to decide if they're going to do HBO Max.
HBO Max, or if they keep it in the theaters and they release it Memorial Day weekend, I think that's the one.
Yeah, but that's going up against Black Widow. That's going to be
Black Widow's in May. That's before Memorial Day.
Yeah, May 7th. Yeah, May 7th for Black Widow.
I just don't think we're going to be in movie theaters by then.
I may.
There's a thirst. Yeah. There's people still going on bars and underground clubs. You and I may not be, but there's folks that will go to a packed movie theater because they're thirsty.
They live in Florida, and
they got large movie complexes that get ticket sales.
But there has to be enough of a crowd across the U.S. to make $100 million.
Yeah, the entire Midwest Bible Belt. And parts of Florida.
They're in the worst spot
Cali,
right now.
Parts of New York is going to go.
You need it in the big cities, and that's why I feel like people are going to get the most comfortable knowing that there's a vaccine out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people
I mean,
remember, we're coming from a season where movies are making billions of dollars. 1.2, 1.3, 900 million. 100 million isn't that huge of a number. Because Tenet made $100 million, and only Mike and I went to go see it in the movie.
Exactly.
This is, I mean, they're like shutting California back down again. Like they keep like going forward and back.
Now.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen
November,
it'll
right?
Probably come and happen here in New York, and it'll be shut down for like a few weeks, a month, if that. But see, on the back of this shutdown though is a vaccine.
Yeah.
Like I am not taking the vaccine. I'm not.
I actually feel like I'm not taking this first round of no damn vaccine.
Yeah, just like the first beta trials.
I want to see what 6 months on does to people.
Yeah, people start getting mutant powers.
You thought 2020 was bad? Wait till the zombies.
2021 mutant powers.
2021.
I just went to get my COVID test for the first time today too. Like when the rapid test and.
Wait, how was it?
It really I prepared
tickles.
I prepared myself for a much worse experience, like because people were describing like, oh my god, I felt like they were trying to touch my brain. So I literally tensed up for a much worse experience, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Well, they offered the school offered to test 20% of the students, but they're saying that the new tests don't go as far. That the ones they offer the students go like half the distance up the nostril as the original set did.
Dude, there's a lot they're learning more and more about the virus that people just the treatments in the hospitals. First of all, the ventilator, people are getting much better at treating it once they know you have it. The testing is also getting better. So we've come ways from March and April. Well, we're not out of the clear yet, but we've come ways in understanding how the virus works and how we need to treat it. So
I heard the more you test, the more people you test, the more likely you are to have positive test results.
That's an oldie but a goodie.
I didn't say it right. Sorry.
That's right. Stop testing and it'll go away.
That sounds. I feel like I heard Trump say that.
Yeah, me too.
Well, hey, they remember the last thing they released was that they had defeated COVID before the.
I'm just going to start announcing.
So you defeated COVID back in February.
63 days to go, everyone. 63 days.
Oh, this is going to be a long lame duck.
Will it be?
Lame duck.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's it. I don't want to get into the other stuff.
No.
Nope.
So-
Nope.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Brooks, for hosting a section. Thank you guys
Thanks
for
allowing me to post it, guys.
absolutely.
Hey, Mike, where can they find us? Sorry to cut you off, Chris.
No, go for it.
We're in the interweb somewhere. So we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Heroes Peak. We're on YouTube. Search up the Heroes Peak YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Let people know. If you like the show, let them know.
Let us know. Let us know.
We don't have money to advertise, so we need your help. So
that's right.
Help us. Help us help you.
So take that Trump sign, take that Biden sign. Now that it's over, turn it inside out and write the Heroes
Peak.
That's
right on it, on that yard
There you
sign.
go.
Stick it out there.
I like that.
That's right. Reuse, reduce, recycle.
There you go.
All right, everybody. Save the planet. Good night. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Peace.
Bye.